परफेक्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हम आपके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आपकी स्वप्न पूर्ति करते हैं। स्त्रोत कंसल्टेक, सिनर्जाइजिंग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।
Hi, this is Shirish Kulkarni, founder and CEO of Strot Consultech, and we have been running this initiative called as Hatke, talking to various personality of different thought processes who have made difference and really, unique as individuals. And we have a great pleasure to have Dilip Ji Kulkarni with us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Great to have you, just to talk about him as an individual, I'm just kind of overwhelmed with the way that he is bringing out changes, his perspective about the holistic development aspect of, being a green initiative, aligning to green initiative, and starting with himself as an individual who has been a graduate, a diploma graduate in mechanical engineering, and has served a renowned company in Pune, and has decided himself to start as his own example. For last 28 years, he is staying. He's decided to stay with his family at a place called as Kudal to basically nurture this aspect of holistic living and creating that example by himself. Has 40 books published on his name, and a lot of awareness campaigns that he has done. Nisargayan, for that matter, 125 such initiatives that he has taken. So I don't have words to really, welcome you, but it's great to have you, Dilip Ji. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, and let's start, breaking ice. And there is a lot to speak about, and we can keep this maybe focused right now. But just to start, it is about the holistic living, how this materialism, our wants, getting us into this trap of getting more and more thinking about doing things that we think that are helping nature, but eventually are damaging it, maybe without our knowledge. But maybe that is the way that maybe you can start on this topic.
Yeah, actually, basically, I am a Puneite, and I was totally dissatisfied with the living here. And if we have to live in tune with nature, we thought that we must move in the vicinity, go to the vicinity of nature. We must stay in nature. So we shifted here from Pune in 1993 and went to Kudavade, which is in Dapoli Taluka of Ratnagiri district, Maharashtra. And we're staying there for the last 28 years. And right from building our own house, we have done so many things. We're trying to be more eco-friendly or green in today's words, as we call it. And to some extent, we are successful, certainly. For example, we have built our house with mud blocks.
Right.
So burnt bricks we have not used, because when you burn the brick, it pollutes. So
Right.
It's a mud house. The flooring is of mud, and we coat it with cow dung every week. My wife does that. We rejected our LPG connection about 18 years ago, and we use only chula. And for chula also, we don't cut trees to have firewood. We only pluck, we only collect firewood from the forest nearby, and we use it. I'm a staunch bicyclist. Even in Pune, I use a bicycle. In Kudavade, I only have a bicycle. I have never purchased or used a two-wheeler or four-wheeler. So many things we try to do. We used to use less paper. We used to reject plastic as much as possible. We use as less electricity as possible. So many things we try to do.
Wonderful. I think that's amazing. And your perspective of this holistic development of inner and outer side, where you talk about in the inner dimension, body, mind, intellect, and spirit, and outer side, you will have family, society, and nation and environment.
Yeah.
And each element we have to look at, creation of waste. I believe let's talk about the inner part of the waste that we create, the thoughts that we get also.
Yeah, certainly. So many thoughts that come into our mind, they are a waste, they are a trash. But it's good that they don't pollute the environment, but they do pollute our inner being, and we have to get rid of those thoughts also. If our thinking becomes pure, I think the outer environment will become pure. I always think that the pollution lies basically here.
Oh,
inner pollution is reflected as a mirror. The outer environment is a mirror of our inner environment. So if the correction is done here, if something is done here, And then I think nothing needs to be done in the outer environment, perhaps.
Superb.
The purification of intellect, Shuddhi, Buddhi should become Satvika and Shuddha, as it is told in Bhagavad Gita.
Uh-huh.
Samatva Buddhi. That is the, I think, the process that should start within everybody. And that will help us to clean the environment or make it more clean or good and healthy and all that.
Right. I believe it all starts with introspection, looking at ourselves. And this is a different perspective where, all of our modern life is completely full of motion, things that we want to do more and more and faster.
Yeah.
And eventually that's where the correction is required, I believe, right?
Certainly. You have to reduce the speed of life, the field of operation of our life, maybe complexity in our life. We have to reduce that. Sit at a place, calm down your mind, pacify your mind, be introvert, think about your thoughts and actions, whether they are right or wrong. And that is where the process starts of cleanliness.
Wonderful. I believe, and it all started with you getting a flash after 6 years of your own corporate tenure with.
During that time, we can say, during that time, I was thinking on these, that why are these problems are there? There are problems at all the levels, maybe individual level, physical level, psychological level, intellectual level, spiritual level, problems at the level of the family, societies, nations, environment. At all these 8 levels, there are problems. So why are they? And to cut a long story short, I will say that I came to a conclusion that it is due to the extravagant consumption, increase in consumption. That is called as development today. Growth in per capita consumption. It is called as growth. And that is the point where all the problems start. So we have to hit at that point. We have not to increase our consumption, but try to step down on consumption. We have to reduce our consumption. And I started thinking on that. I started writing books and articles on that. I started giving lectures on that. But at one point I thought that, okay, telling it to others is very nice. It's very fine. Are we, as an individual, am I going to bring it into my life or not? Whether I'm going to walk my talk or not. And so we decided to move in a village where we can go this way slightly ahead than in a city.
Amazing. I think it's a step setting up yourself as a role model, setting that example for others. As we say that, before we preach to others, why not to start with yourself? And I believe in whatever that I've read everywhere, it is like you start with yourself first. I believe that is the message, strong message. And as we're talking about the waste, as we create in manufacturing term, that, whatever customer is not going to buy is a waste. So here, whatever is not going to help in a larger perspective would be a waste, I believe, in whatever level of ecosystem that you are talking about. And that brings me to also a perspective of a systemic approach that you have thought about. And that's very important.
It is not my thought, basically. It is the systems theory as it has developed, and it has emerged from modern physics, which tells about the interconnectedness of all phenomena. And so we see that we cannot alienate ourselves from the nature. We are a part of nature. So we should do nothing that will harm nature. Or in fact, we should positively, I would say that we should do everything that will help nature to run its own cycles. Waste, when we talk about waste, I think that in nature, there is no word like waste. In nature, there is no waste. It is the human creation of waste. In nature, maybe there is some leaves have fallen down or branches or wood has fallen down, some decaying matter is there, but it will decay automatically. In nature, there are organisms which will degrade that, and the waste will be again converted into manure, and manure will be used as again a resource for growing plants. So in nature, it's a cyclic thing. Human beings have created waste because of 2 things. Even the degradable waste, it accumulates in such a huge quantity because of concentration of population that it cannot get degraded. And secondly, we have created so many substances which are non-degradable. Right. So these 2 types of wastes are there. So we should not be under the impression that it is only the non-degradable waste that is the problem. Even the degradable waste, the kachara that we produce, the garbage that we produce, whatever we effecate, if we do that at one place, say Pune city, or if we think 35 lakh people effecate every day, maybe one time or two times. And where does that all things go? It goes to the river. Maybe it's Mula Mutha river, or maybe Indrayani, or maybe Pavna. So it is a very accumulated or concentrated type of waste, which creates problems. So in nature, there is decentralization. If we give attention to how nature is organized and how it works, there is cyclicity, there is decentralization, there is continuous exchange of resources, and there is mutuality in that. Whatever plants give, humans or the animals use, whatever animals give out, it is useful for the plants. So unless we go to this particular, I would say, a paradigm, we will say, nature's paradigm, we are not going to solve the problems as such. In present situation or in present model of development, what we will achieve at the base is problem shifting. We will be shifting from here to there and from today to tomorrow. What does the Pune city do? Pune city dumps all its garbage to Urali, Kanchan and Fursungi. That is not the solution to the problem. No, I have just shifted my problem from Pune city to Urali, Kanchan. Or maybe to some other place. If they do some agitation, it will be shifted to some other place. That is not the solution.
So two dimensions that I'm actually hearing out is, one is that, and you have a monthly magazine called as Gatiman Santulan, so dynamic equilibrium.
Yeah.
So element of equilibrium with yourself first, and eventually with the nature and ecosystem.
Yeah.
I believe that's a strong message that I'm getting. So my question on that, last 20 years, I believe that you have been doing this every month, and I was going through all every month getting this different perspective on this aspect of waste management or ecosystem equilibrium. How do you get those thoughts and ideas, and how are you again bubbling with new perspective? And it's amazing.
Maybe, I don't know. It is God's gift, we can say only. How these thoughts emerge in me, I don't know. But one thing I will say, I am not, I don't condition myself with others' thoughts much. Okay, I do read, I do listen to people, but I keep it to a certain limit. Otherwise, you get
Carried away or
carried away with that, maybe sometimes.
So I think that is where all the thoughts that I've read, let it be your perspective about birth of a child, the natural process of pregnancy or delivery, to Ganesh Murthy, recycling, how you are looking at building it on your own. So these perspectives are coming through that genuinity of creativity, where maybe that serene nature that you are getting every day and every moment. I believe that is the blessing from there.
Certainly, certainly.
All right. So moving to the aspect of cycle of waste. Now we will talk about waste management, but actually it is from creation, as you are saying, to get it eliminated from the creation to eventually whatever you have created to manage it and discard it into the natural form where it cycles back.
Yeah.
So there is a concept of 4R that you always talk about. Maybe you enlighten us with that.
Okay. The 4 R's we talk about, it is the what I can do. I can do the 4 R's. The 4 R's are practically everybody knows. First is refuse. Then the second R is reduce. The third R is reuse. The fourth R is recycle.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to apply these 4 R's to all the things that I use. Maybe it's paper, maybe it's plastic, maybe it's electricity, maybe anything. Whatever I'm using, can I first start refusing? Because we are consuming so much, our ecological footprint, as we call, maybe for the American lifestyle, it is 5.4 Earths. And they are not there. There is only 1 Earth. So our ecological footprint should be necessarily less than 1 Earth. So we have to reduce so much. But before reducing, we have to refuse so many things. So can we refuse so many things? So what we tell people is we will be making a differentiation between our needs and wants. All the wants should be refused. We can't refuse the needs.
Right.
But we have to limit our life to the needs, basic needs. Because Gandhiji said, nature is sufficient for everybody's needs, but not for anybody's greed. This greed we have to refuse, and we have to limit our life to the needs. Then again, with the needs, can we reduce on needs also? Can I take bath with less and less water? Can I reduce the use of bath water? Okay, bath should be taken every day, but can I do it within, say, 10 liter or 5 liter? We have to try. Then the third is reuse. When I want to use the thing fully, I have to use it so many times, many more times. And so reuse is the third principle. And then after that, whatever goes as a waste, it should be recycled. But again, I always tell that recycling is the last thing. And people think that recycling is eco-friendly, but I think it is not. Recycling done by nature is eco-friendly. Whatever recycling human beings do, we do, is not eco-friendly because only materials can be recycled. Energy has to be applied new every time for that recycling. If I want to recycle plastic, I have to use energy. I want to do something with the garbage, I have to use energy. Maybe it is in form of the petrol or diesel or electricity, I have to use the energy. And every time I use the energy, it pollutes.
Right.
It increases our carbon footprint. In nature, when it degrades something, it is a carbon negative process. But
Right.
with human beings, it's a carbon positive process. And so we should avoid things which we need to degrade or recycle. Only whatever nature does, we can leave it to nature and it will do it without any problem.
Brilliant.
But for that, there is our resources should be, or the things should be degradable.
Right.
But there is a direct relation between a type of resource and the waste it creates.
Right.
The renewable resource creates degradable waste. Non-renewable resource creates non-degradable waste. So if I want to avoid non-degradable kachra, then I will have to stop the use or refuse the use of non-renewable resources, basically petroleum.
Right.
If I want to refuse plastic, I should refuse petroleum basically, because that is a non-renewable resource. Then I should go to wood or mud or many more things like that nature gives. And traditionally, we have been using wood as a construction material or firewood, and it degrades automatically. You don't have to do, there are organisms who will degrade that. So whatever nature does, recycling that nature does is good. Human beings, what they do, they create problem and they shift the problems again from here to there. And from here to tomorrow.
Right. And maybe, conveniently think that you have resolved the problem or made ourselves more comfortable in that situation. I believe that.
Yeah. And you are more satisfied that I am not harming the nature much. And whatever harm I inflict on nature, it is nature does it of its own. It fills the wounds with of its own. If I cut the wood, it is automatically go. If I put my the green what do you call that ola kachra, in English what we call it?
Weight garbage.
Weight garbage. If we throw it just away, somebody will degrade that. I don't have to even look at it. Only thing, it should be put in different places. That's all. There should be decentralized disposal of garbage, weight garbage, and nature takes care of it.
Right. Talking about waste management in the holistic perspective, I believe it's a movement in itself, and I believe all your thoughts are intriguing, and maybe it will take a lot of time for us to really sink in to get to the root of it. We'll try to do that, but now this being a movement that should happen, like a Kranti or Utkranti as such. But do you think that the society and education system, I'll come to that, but the corporates as such, who are empowered kind of in a system, corporates can help in this in a larger way?
But to a certain extent, in fact, everybody can help because it is everybody's job. Because everybody is creating waste in huge quantities, and so it's everybody's duty to avoid creation of waste. So even the corporates can do it. They can reduce the use of resources. They can refuse so many resources if they don't want. They can reduce the use. They can reuse so many resources. They can recycle.
They can stop the pollution. Maybe
again, 4 Rs are applicable to individual life, to family life, societal life, corporate life, everywhere.
Right. And I'm looking at the organizations like TCS running an initiative called a Sustainathon, again focused more on the youth, the students, creating this kind of a motivation about waste management and newer ideas that are likely to come on. So how do you look at this kind of initiatives?
It's a very good initiative, I would say. And in fact, if youth are charged with these type of thoughts and concepts, I think they will bring it into practice. They will ponder over it. And I think but only thing is, it should not just become a competition for the prizes to be won. It should become a part of our life. I have always been telling people that it should be a part of our life. Lifestyle, as we call it, it should become our lifestyle. So we have to think over it, we have to study so many things, and then bring it into practice, that how in my own life I can do that. And again, as a citizen, how I can do that where I'm staying, and how I can help the whole nation and the world to go to a right direction. So
Right.
I think this is a good initiative by TCS.
I think, with the entities like Adar Punawala Clean City Initiative, Swachh as a, individual entity, IEEE like an organization. So I believe it's a collective effort. That's a message that we are getting, that we need to join hands with this kind of entities which actually are thinking and may not be holistic as such, but the perspective is definitely end-to-end waste management. And if at all we get to awareness of students and involvement of the youth, I believe that's the best that we can derive out of it.
Certainly. But I will always say that we should not be satisfied with what we do in this particular model of development. So this model of development is never going to give us ultimate solutions. At the best way, as I said, you can at the best do some recycling, do some resources you can you can recover from the waste and all that. But that is not going to solve the problem. You can at the most postpone it. So if we have to really solve the problem, we should always think about changing the paradigm, changing the model of development. From the industrial urban model of development that is in work today, we have to shift over a different paradigm, which is rural agricultural.
Okay.
So in that, but when we're in that setting, there is no kachra. Whatever biomass in the form of food or fruits and all that, or the cow, this chara as we call it, when we get it, whatever we effecate or whatever we throw away as a waste, again goes to the soil. In today's situation, it is never going back to the soil from where it came. I ate wheat. Does my dung, whatever I effecate, goes to the wheat fields? No. I eat sugar. Does it go to the sugarcane fields? No. I drink milk. Does it go to the thing where the grass grew? No. So there is one-way traffic of organic matter. In nature, there is cyclicity. In our thinking, it is one-way traffic. And when the cycle is not complete, problems at the level of nature. In nature, cyclicity must be obeyed and followed.
Wonderful. I believe, I am citing one example, and I would then try to get to a controversial dimension of using a bicycle. I was just thinking about the dynamic equilibrium concept, where we are always required to be in balance, dynamic balance, when you are riding a bicycle, as well as, if you want to ride it faster, you will consume your own energy. And it is self-regulated to go to the pace as maximum energy that you can, put in, and you get tired. Beyond that, you cannot run it. So I think you are looking at some kind of a self-governing, self-sustaining mechanism like that.
Certainly. All the biological mechanisms, they are self-regulating. And whatever is artificial, you use petrol, then you can increase the speed up to, say, maybe 200 km per hour or 500 km per hour. For aeroplanes, it is maybe 1000 km per hour.
Right.
But with biological systems, whatever you can speed at which you run, that is the limiting speed. Maybe a bicycle, it can enhance the speed slightly, but not much. It is within the tolerable limits. But as soon as you go to a petrol-driven or diesel-driven vehicle, you cross the limits.
Right.
So again, you have to follow these nature's limits. Nature has, I think, very intentionally put these limits on the speed, the quantum, the field of operation, maybe complexity also. Whatever I do with my brains, it has its own limits, and they are useful. As soon as I apply computers and supercomputers and AI and all that, I transgress the limits of nature. Nature from within and from without.
Wow, nature from within, from without.
Inner limits are also more are important. For consumption of anything, there is inner limit of man. For production, there is outer limit of environment. And by using all these, we transgress both these two limits, inner and outer. In the inner environment, it creates physical elements and mental stress and psychological, the psychosomatic elements and all that. In the outer environment, it is the depletion of resources, pollution, waste, all the problems. We create only problems. We don't solve the problems.
Right. I think it's amazing perspective. Now, as we are speaking about vehicles, I'm going to talk about a green vehicle, as it is called as electric vehicle. And conventionally, it is supposed to solve our problems as far as ecosystem. And you are seeing vehicles running 120 kilometers at maybe 300 kilometers per hour. So, I mean, is it something that you would like to share some perspective?
No. We are totally cheated and bluffed by people, maybe engineers or maybe politicians. Green vehicles are not green by any means. We use electricity, okay. Maybe we can keep the environment of Pune or any city or any place clean, maybe, because by not polluting there. But where does this electricity get produced? Maybe at Koradi, maybe at Eklahre, maybe at Saval and any place. It may be thermal power plant run on coal, or maybe it's a nuclear power plant. What will happen at that place? When we use more electricity for our transportation, we will be burning more coal there. And coal burnt at any place, it will emit CO2, and that CO2 will cause global warming. The warming won't be local, the warming will be global. So we'll be creating more problem by using electric vehicles. In fact, all the modern energies, we can say, the produced energies as we call them, when we use produced energies, maybe it's a petroleum-based energy or coal-based energy, or maybe electricity, nuclear energy, we create more entropy. Maybe you are an engineer, so you know the word entropy. It is the converting materials which are from useful to non-useful and creating more pollution, creating more waste.
Wow.
So solar photovoltaic, it's an entropic activity. One solar panel requires more energy for its production than it produces during its life of 20 years. So it's a negative producer of energy. Windmill is a negative producer of energy because it increases entropy. And no engineer tells this. I don't know why. We engineers are maybe perhaps cheating the population by not telling them the truth.
I believe maybe, just putting it in a little bit of humorous way, entropy is a topic maybe taken as an advanced topic, and many of us do not know the meaning of entropy is a measure of disorder in the system. As we talk about, thermodynamics talks about conversion of one energy to another energy as a form. And as I think we were discussing about, any kind of conversion has its own losses, and that gets converted into disorder.
Called an entropy, and they reflect in the form of pollution, basically. When I burn petroleum, I get some energy, but a lot of it is wasted. More of it is wasted than used. And we have to face it in the form of smoke and all that, all the carbon dioxide that we emit, all the foul smell that we emit, the friction, the noise, everything. That is the entropy.
Right. Now, to make it very, 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 very simple for a common person like me or many of us who want to listen to this, but now what we should do, or what I should do from tomorrow, some 4, 5 things or 10 things that you have been doing it yourself, that we should start doing immediately to get into the action.
Whatever is possible in the cities, we should start doing. It is not that everybody can leave a city and go to a village or in a serene place or in a forest or jungle. Nobody can do that. So what can we do where we are staying? And that is more important. So I think it is again 4 R's will apply there. So to reduce the waste, I will try to refuse so many resources. I should start refusing the non-renewable resources as far as possible. Can we shift away from electricity to some other form of energy? Because electricity is a secondary energy. From electricity, we can shift to, say, petroleum. Okay, that will be a good step. I don't profess use of petroleum, but say I have a electric heater, from that I shift to a gas heater. Okay, gas is a primary fuel. Petroleum is a primary fuel, electricity is a secondary fuel. So I should shift away from electricity to gas. Maybe so that can be one step. Then from gas, can I use less gas?
Right.
Can I use less?
So, simple thing as you're suggesting, I'll switch off all the lights which are not
it's
used.
not needed.
I will
Yes.
not, in the late nights, I'll burn lights or something which
Yeah.
has to be switched off.
Yeah.
Gas, if
Switch
I'm
off
able
your
to.
computer, switch off the main switch, because the primary circuit is on. When the main switch is on, you just remove the charging pin, but the main transformer is working. So you switch it off there. That will save a lot of electricity. So many things we can do.
And
Can you shift again from the second shifting will be from, say, petroleum to human power. So can I shift from petrol to two-wheeler and four-wheeler to bicycle, from bicycle to walking? That, because again, bicycle has to be produced by using steel, and we use nylon
right.
tires and all that. So why that energy to why you should use that energy? Walk, walk, and walk your talk also. So both ways it is useful. It will
Right.
give you good health.
And it coming from a person who is staying with 1 or 2 units of electricity, I believe you can
Yes,
explain that.
I've done that. No
That you
gadgets
don't.
in our house. Consumption electricity is only 1 or 2 units per month. There are only electric bulbs and a radio set to listen to news and music. That's all. No gadget. My wife basically has decided not to use any gadgets. So the consumption is very less. I'm a staunch bicyclist. In Pune also, at the age of 63, I use only bicycle. I have never driven or ridden a two-wheeler. I never driven that. No thought of four-wheeler, never in my whole life. And so you can do that. And especially to the youth, I will tell that, why can't you use bicycle?
Right.
As soon as you go to the +2 level, why do you want a two-wheeler? Use bicycle. Cities like Amsterdam and themselves with cycles. From to the okay, using public transport is a good reduction in petroleum consumption. From private vehicle to public transport. In cities, we can do that. We should force the local bodies to provide us good public transport. It will be a good solution.
I believe
waste, again, can we degrade our own waste in our own house? All the wet that we create in our own house can be degraded in our vicinity of our own house. If we can do that, we will reduce the burden on the municipal corporation to take that waste from one place to another and dump it there. So like that, I think in cities also we can do so many things. And maybe if they are not directly useful to me, they are useful to the environment somewhere else. When I use less electricity, somewhere the pollution will get reduced. That in turn will be useful for me. Carbon emission reduced at any place will help us to solve the problem of global warming. So I think we should think in a global way. And there is a beautiful slogan by the environment movement the world over is think globally, act locally, and respond personally. So thinking has to be global and the response have to be personal. It is applicable to the waste also. So to solve the problem of waste at the global level, we will have to take so many individual initiatives. And I think this Sustainathon may be helpful in influencing youth especially and promoting them to use some individual initiatives.
Wonderful. I think it's nicely put where look at the bigger picture where things are going right or wrong, and in fact wrong. Identify things that I can take as translating to my own actions. As think global, eventually act local, and translate that to what I can do.
Yeah, certainly.
Right, and that's amazing kind of a message. I believe whatever time we can spend with you would be educative, insightful, provocative, and I'm sure that many of us would like to have more and more talk to you. And there are 40 such books that you've written. You've continuously flowing with these thoughts, and I'm just overwhelmed by even reading some of your smaller books. But I believe it's a journey for us to catch up with the kind of out of the box thinking that you are bringing, the hatke thinking that you are bringing, and it is really wonderful to have this opportunity to even interact. I bow myself to the dedication, the sacrifices that you have.
No, and it's not bad. They're not two big things. No? Everybody should do that. Yeah, we
And
have the pioneers maybe, that's all.
and that too being grounded. And I would like to cite this to the audience that even our meeting, I was sitting on a chair, but you were below. I was actually that's the way that we want to actually do it by example. Great to have you, Dilip ji. It was wonderful. And any last message you want to give to the audience so that they
It's
keep.
okay. I think it is start doing something instead of just talking about something and thinking about it. Start doing, because an ounce of practice is more than a ton of knowledge. So instead of acquiring more and more knowledge about waste management, start reducing your own waste, start degrading it of your own, and try to be a part of the cycle. I think that should be the thing. Whatever is little possible, we should start doing it.
Wonderful. I think with that message, to start with yourself and this movement of bringing a real green kind of a nature and go closer to the nature, trying to kind of settle ourselves in our all the layers of how we connect to the ecosystem, bring that soothing effect, grounding effect, and reducing waste or noises at all the levels. I believe that is something that we'll take as a message. It was great to have you, Dilip ji, and
Thank you.
no words to thank you, but our all wishes to have more and more people to follow these basic principles, the insightful ways that you are putting it, the kind of way that you are actually driving those things. Let more and more people join this movement, and you have the way that you have your youth right now on your face, and the way that you are preaching it. I believe all our best wishes are with you, and
Thank you very much.
Right?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, and God bless.
Okay.
बिजनेस कोई भी हो, सक्सेस की नींव हम रखते हैं।
बुलंदियों को छूने की आपके अरमानों की उम्मीद जगाती जोत है, हर सपनों का हम स्रोत है।
सही स्ट्रेटेजी, परफेक्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हम आपके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आपकी स्वप्न पूर्ति करते हैं। स्त्रोत कंसल्टेक, सिनर्जाइजिंग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।